a collective endeavor needs two parts. One is the professional expertise in that endeavor, and the second is for the people to work together. Do you want to play the ego game and say ki main bada tum bade? What is your objective? Objective is perpetuating that relationship or being right and wrong. If the Lord has given the wind doesn't belong to me. If it doesn't belong to me, where is my ego? Whereas humility will ensure that you absorb inputs, see where your mistakes are, absorb those, work on those mistakes, become better and better and better. And therefore, your ability to perpetuate that win into another win increases. We're spending maybe 70% of our waking life with each other.
Yeah.
Is it logical that when you are facing some challenge, people who spend 70% of the time should ignore that challenge? All of us employees who are working together need to stand by each other. It has come from A to B, then it should go from B to C. So it shouldn't go from B back to A.
Success feels complete only when it is shared. Today, I'm delighted and honored to continue the journey of Rakesh Rawal, uncomplicated. I am Poonam Raghuvanshi, and today I'm going to continue this journey exploring Rakesh Rawal, the leader who has made balance so simple and has expressed it as performance with presence and empathy with excellence. Rakesh, you have continued to lead a team, an army of 387 relationship managers and 12,700 H&I families, not just with your values and vision, but with heart. What truly sets you apart as a CEO of Anand Rathi Wealth is not your sharpness, your intellect, or your business acumen, but your large heart, your kindness, your empathy, low ego, and above all, your ability to inspire all of us around you. Today, this conversation is about relationship, empathy, and balance in life, and also to understand from you what are the values that have enabled you to make balance in life so simple and possible, and also how your legacy is going to be defined not just by growth, but by grace. So today, the conversation is all about relationship, legacy, and empathy. So,
Sure, Poonam. Fire away.
yeah. So it feels it's deja vu. 18 years ago, we were sitting like this at the Kutub Hotel where you were interviewing me, and today is my opportunity to ask you questions, which is all about your leadership. First question is, we've heard people first, whether it is family, clients, employees, or shareholders. We've also heard why building and developing relationships are so important in life, beyond the professional context. How do you, in your professional journey, how have you continued to nurture such relationships with so much of aplomb and with so much of ease?
Well, first and foremost, we have to understand that any endeavor, a collective endeavor, needs two parts. One is the professional expertise in that endeavor, and the second is for the people to work together to achieve whatever collective goal that they have set for themselves, whether it is the field of cricket or whether it is wealth management. Yeah. Now, not being good at either will not lead to success. So if we are in wealth management, we need to be the best in terms of the value proposition that we create. And simultaneously, we have to also be the best in terms of creating and managing relationships. Because without creating relationships within or outside with clients, how will the value proposition be propagated? Right? Now, if we have to sort of create relationships, we don't have to, go all over the place. Go back to your family unit and see as to how relationships are created in a family unit. Yeah. And you will see the basics of creating relationships right there. Now, if you are going to be not spending time with parents, how will that relationship, perpetuate? If you're not going to be standing with people's, joys and sorrows, how will that relationship perpetuate? If you're not going to spend time with people, then how will that relationship perpetuate? Right? These are basics. So you have to make sure that these basics get implemented in whichever group effort that you're doing, including your company. And those are the pillars on which, we build relationships.
So true. Have you ever had any problems managing relationships, whether it is family or clients or employees, ever? And how have you reset it?
No, see, relationship is a journey together, right? And if there is a journey together, there will be, challenges like, they will come in this journey together and like any other journey together. The question that you have to ask yourself is, do you want to put energy in perpetuating that journey? And therefore, then you will navigate those challenges for the outcome to be perpetuating that journey. Or do you want to play the ego game and say ki main bada tum bade, right? And increase the probability of breakage of that journey. Yeah. That's you have to decide within.
Yeah.
You know that it can go either way depending on what your intent is. Why तुमने क्यों नहीं पहल की, मैं क्यों करूं, is a mechanism which says, hey, I don't care if it breaks. How does it matter किसने पहल की? As long as you've met your end objective that we are together. Right? क्या फर्क पड़ता है अगर कोई बोलता है यार मैं बड़ा हूं, मैं अपोलोजाइज नहीं कर सकता, गलती मेरी है तो अपोलोजाइज करो भाई, नहीं भी है तो कर लो, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? What is your objective? Objective is perpetuating that relationship or being right and wrong? What is it that you want? I want to perpetuate relationships. मैंने बड़ी मेहनत की है उस रिलेशनशिप को यहां तक लाने के लिए. बड़ा दुख होगा अगर वो टूट जाए.
टूट जाए. Yes, I agree.
Right? So much of investment down the drain. How silly. And it could be saved by one little word, sorry. Is the justification of sorry more important or the mere fact that you've said sorry and you've perpetuated the relationship? Decide. That's how simple it is.
So, humbleness, being human, humble, humility, empathy, kindness, and gratitude is something that you have taught us and ingrained amongst all the employees of Anand Rathi Wealth. Along with it, you've always said that trust takes years to build and just seconds to blow it up or end it. How have these value systems been ingrained in you? Has it come from your family over the years? And what is that one important value that you think that each one of us should continue in life, both personally and professionally?
It's such a, big question. So if I forget some part of it, please remind me. But let's start with humility. Okay? Now, ask yourself, many of us saying when there is some win, do you see Virat Kohli looking up and saying, thanking the Lord? Thank God, sir, I've got a win.
Yes.
So who has given the win? The Lord has given the win. If the Lord has given the win doesn't belong to me. If it doesn't belong to me, where is my ego? Why should it say that, hey, I've done it? And if I have not done it, then I'm humble. Don't you see people saying, Inshallah? Yeah, uski meher. God's grace. Now, either you mean God's grace, then allocate the win to him. If the win is his, what is yours? You are just a carrier, you're just holding it on his behalf. Right? You're not the owner.
Agree.
Right? If you're not the owner, what are you egoistic about? So supposing I'm the owner, I'm the holder of shares on behalf of somebody as a trustee. That company does well. Should I be egoistic?
True.
Yeah. The second part is that humility tells you that you can improve. I have reached the top. So where from now? From that, where else will you go? So your ability to absorb inputs that are coming your way, yeah, comes down. Yeah. And then chances of improvement from that position become lesser. Right? And then it's a circular thing. Ego leads to situations of being static. Static means that there's going to be downfall, and that win will get converted into a defeat. Whereas humility will ensure that you absorb inputs, see where your mistakes are, absorb those, work on those mistakes, become better and better and better, and therefore your ability to perpetuate that win into another win increases. So what is it that you want in life? Do you want more wins? Do you want your ego satisfaction? So if you want more wins, be humble. If you want, vavayat, then, take your call in life.
Awesome.
The other thing that you talked about, empathy, what other way of behavior is there? Yeah, we spend so much of time with each other. All of us colleagues spend 8-10 hours together in the office. We're spending maybe 70% of our waking life with each other.
Yeah.
Is it logical that when you are facing some challenge, people who spend 30% of the time, which is your family, should be navigating that challenge with you? People who spend 70% of the time should ignore that challenge. Does that make any sense? So therefore, all of us employees who are working together need to stand by each other, whether it be celebrating something or whether we're facing a challenge, whether it's a health challenge or performance challenge or any other. Yeah. Now, if you stand with each other and are willing to contribute to that challenge, सिर्फ मुंह बोला मैं तुम्हारे साथ खड़ा हुआ नहीं. Yeah, whatever it takes, contribute to that. If it means that, hey, there's a medical bill, contribute to that. That's empathy.
Yeah, we've seen that.
Right? So that it reduces the anxiety and the effort involved that you have to put in for that individual. Right? That, I think, is the crux of relationship building. Don't you all say that, hey, he stood by me at that time, I'm going to stand by this person for life. So, when you do that, then you create long-term relationships. Right? You're not doing it for creating long-term relationships, but that's the way naturally things are. You do good, it'll lead to, more often than not, the person responding to you in a positive manner. Yeah. So I think empathy is a necessary ingredient of having good relationships.
And we've seen enough examples of you leading from the front on all these aspects.
Well, it's like this, that I was placed in the front, therefore I was leading from there. Had you put me in the back seat, I would have done the
That's
same thing from
modesty.
the back seat. It's the
That's
right thing to do, right? And whether it was the case of losing two of our employees and having their wives join us and become successful relationship managers, or whether there is a parent suffering from some disease and there's not too much
contributing.
time that needs to be spent or that can be spent on work, and more time has to be spent with the
With the
parent.
family.
Whether it is our young colleagues who are, bringing up new lives, and that they need a certain period, certain time to spend with their children to navigate them, whatever it be. And also the other joy is somebody getting married and stuff like that. It's not spending time only when things are down.
True. I'm one such example when I remember very categorically 2 years ago when I was losing my father. You stood by me and you never asked me about any numbers or how I was doing. All you asked me was, how was my dad? And that's so touching. So, with all these values that you've spoken about, what, according to you, is one value or a philosophy that is being practiced at Anand Rathi Wealth, which has kept itself going and ingrained very, very deeply? One.
Well, I don't really know about the one part, but I think that
Or the most important part?
genuine care for people, care coming from within, is something that we are all trying to sort of practice at, I would say, different degree of prowess. Yeah, genuine care for client, genuine care for colleagues, genuine care for friends and family. So do an honest job in relationships.
It's
Yeah.
honesty.
I think that is genuineness and honesty. If so, honesty in relationships, all of us understand. Yeah.
And also, you have inculcated a very high level of integrity and compassion amongst all of us. And we credit you with that, for sure.
I don't know about the credit part, but I think inherently our parents have inculcated that in us. Yeah. So therefore, whatever we are today is a reflection of the 10, 20, 30 years that we have spent with our parents.
True.
These things get passed on in an invisible fashion from A person to B person, right? So I'm just building on something that was given to you as Jagir from your parents. We are building on the humongous amount of effort made by parents in making us decent human beings. And therefore, we are creating an environment where that decency perpetuates. Yeah? So it's phenomenal raw material I got, which we are all with our individual behaviors. And I can't do it alone. Yeah? If there's a company of 1,000, 1,100 people, behavior of different people in different circumstances, in different geographies, is impacting people.
People.
Yeah? And therefore, if that behavior is not perpetuated in that unit, then that unit can go downhill. Right? So my leaders, my senior colleagues, junior colleagues, everyone is practicing it day in, day out. And if there are some glitches here and there, people are counseling and getting them back to the path. So it's a natural, organic growth that happens. Yeah, and all of us. Therefore, I say that culture in a company, all of us are responsible for it. It can't be done by one person. And if we are all not committed to it, then it will go down the wayside. And if we are committed to it, it will keep flying.
Like I always say, water flows from the top. And all credit to you again for doing what you do for all of us and created an atmosphere in the organization which has a very high happiness quotient. In a simplistic manner, how would you define happiness? Is it about people? Is it about the moments? Or is it about leading a life with good value system?
I would think happiness is that state of being within, which tells you whether you are happy or you're unhappy, you know, and you have to create more and more opportunities of happiness. Yeah. So, for example, financial success is one opportunity of happiness. Growth in business is another opportunity of happiness. Family is doing well is another, opportunity of creating happiness. Doing something for others is another opportunity of creating happiness, right? So if you're helping a colleague become successful, which is what you've done, Poonam, for so many of your colleagues, yeah. Now, when you see them succeed, when you see them in financial levels, which is far greater than when they came. Remember that young lady who's lost her husband,
Yeah.
and how you nurtured her, and today her children are doing very well. She's bought her car, and she is a go-getter. So when you look at her, it'll create happiness within. Yeah. Then, of course, all of us reach levels of financial power or wealth, which is far greater than what we need. And therefore, using that also to create happiness is up to us.
Awesome. So grounding. It is indeed. So, in your leadership journey, how have you balanced your professional life and your personal life so well? Is it all about time, or is it about mindset, or is it about priorities? How would you say you balance them well?
Well, I've done a bad job of that. I think that in terms of my career, if I see, I have given disproportionate time to my career and not the right balance I've given to my family, and I'm guilty of that. And therefore my children, to a very very large extent, have been brought up by Preeti and not by me. Having said that, I think there were different times. The life has changed, the world has changed, resources have changed, and therefore today it's possible to balance it better. Today I'm also at a situation that my children are married, and there's the kind of time that they're required doesn't exist anymore. So today it's easy to balance. Yeah. Also, there are various stages of build of a business. If you remember, as a startup, when the brand was not as well known, our clarity of strategy was not crystal. We were trying to see if we could get some business, right? And all of us were, working overtime.
I'm part of that phase.
Right. So, but today we've reached a certain stage where I think the degree of effort required for that extra 1 unit of business is 1/10 of what it used to be.
True.
Yeah. So today I think I can balance it far better as compared to that period of our growth. So I think it's about different circumstances. There should be clearly a effort made in balancing the two. Yeah. But you have to navigate and see, hey, at a point in time, this is the best I can. But then when circumstances change, then you should, you know, look at the other way as well.
Yeah.
If circumstances have changed, you can spend more time with family. Why not? You should.
So, is that what you would tell a young professional who's looking for balance in life, especially in a fast digitalized world? Is that what you would say?
Of course. Now, like several of my colleagues, I've said to them that, hey, how often do you meet your parents?
Yes, we've
Yeah.
heard that.
So I said, how old are your parents? He says he's 70 years of age. I said, fine. So maybe you have 10, 15 years left. Let's say, for argument's sake, 15 years left for the parent to go. And how frequently do you meet him? He says once or twice a year. So if it's twice, you'll meet him 30 times before he's gone. And when he's gone, you look back at life and say, hey, was that enough? Or will you regret it? Now, if you want to regret it, what won't you regret? If you've met them 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, define your number. Let's say you want to meet him 5 times. Yeah, that's 75 times that you met him. Okay, fair enough. I did my best. Why can't it be 5 times? Yeah. We have so much technology. We have work from home. We have Zoom. All that didn't exist earlier, no? Was a client meeting possible without physically going to him?
No.
Today, technology can take you there. Yeah. So you're not really missing out on work, but you are balancing it, right? I think those equations should be reworked in your mind, right? Given technology, and whatever is the equation that works for you, figure that out, and then balance it, and then implement it.
I think you're probably the only CEO who talks about balancing life, not just by time, but in presence. And I'm quite sure it is that.
See, I don't know about the only, but I think that this is very topical in the world today, that you need to improve the quality of life to, and make sure that you balance between different things that pull you in terms of your time. The thing is that you have to sort of reconfigure things based on the kind of technologies that are available. To use the technologies
True.
to get a better final answer. Yeah. Instead of perpetuating an answer which is only momentum driven. So see how things are changing. How can you use them to arrive at a better answer?
So basically, adaptability. I'm just saying that because having worked 32 years in a corporate world and in multinational organizations, they still have technology. Would the CEO be still saying the same thing? I'm not very sure.
Well, I think I would say that the intent of all CEOs is the same. They want good for their people. They want good for their business, and this ultimately creates good for the people and business.
Yes.
So I would think that they'll have their own ways of communicating the same thing. I say it more directly. Some of them may be saying it directly. Some will say it in whatever fashion that they will. But I don't see that to be. It's a natural, good behavior. Why would others not follow it? I'm sure they will.
I'm just saying this because we are witnessing, all 300, 400 people in the organization are witnessing the same thing. And therefore, a very impromptu question to you. What does legacy mean to you? Does it mean leaving, for both at the personal and a professional level, does it mean leaving behind wealth, wisdom, or just empathy?
I think the way at least I look at legacy is that, you know, all of us have a beginning, and, most of us are middle class kind of people, and you have been part of a creation which has come up to a level. Yeah, whether in wealth terms, whether in terms of institutions that you help create. And what's your desire within? That, hey, when I'm not there, if it has come from A to B, then it should go from B to C,
See.
right? So it shouldn't go from B back to A. It'll, it's a sad thing to do, right? So if your objective is that it should go from B to C, then you have to, whatever you do today should enable that process to take place and increase the probability. Right? So if I've got wealth, I have a strategy in place. My family is fully aware of the strategy in place. And therefore, they are like to perpetuate that strategy and better that strategy even when I'm gone. Yeah? And therefore, the probability of that X becoming 10X and becoming 100X
100x.
increases. Right? Similarly in business. Yeah? We have an institution that's created. Feroz is there as the joint CEO. Fortunately, he's 20 years younger to me.
Yeah.
And therefore is going to perpetuate it. And when his time comes, he will find a suitable person who will carry it forward. And if this process continues, then it is endless.
Yeah.
So that's how many brands are created in the world, institutional brands. I don't even know when Deutsche Bank started. So it just seems to perpetuate. Yeah. So that's my understanding of legacy. It's not about who will remember or not remember. People may not even know who the founder of Deutsche Bank was, if there was one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not important. The important thing is for people to benefit from these organizations that you create.
So, what is taking off from there? Who remembers the founder of Deutsche Bank? Both of us having worked there. What is that one philosophy that you would like to see carry forward in Anand Rathi Wealth long after you have moved on as a CEO from day to day work?
No, I
What
think
would
there are
that
two
be?
parts to it. One is that the functionality of it, which is that what's the objective? The objective is to get today a 15.5% return with a risk at about 0.6, 0.65 beta. I would like this equation to become better with time. Yeah. I would dream for it to become 16, 17, but at the same risk of 0.6. Or for 15.5 to be brought down to 0.6 beta के बजाय 0.55, 0.5 beta. Yeah. That's what I would, expect for people to carry it forward, and that'll give me a lot of happiness. In terms of a culture of relationships and mattering, and they matter to all of us, I think that would again give me a lot of happiness if this culture of caring for each other continues. And it's not about size. I remember, in the olden times, my grandparents had 10 brothers and sisters. They loved each other and they cared for each other. And today you have single child and 2 children and they are fighting with each other. It's not about that. It's what culture you create in an organization. And if you can, we started with just a few of us. Divya was one of them. And today we are 1,200. So aren't we perpetuating the culture? Where does it say that it'll stop at 10,000 or 5,000, that you can't do it? Yeah. So I think you can if you desire it.
So, lastly, Rakesh, if you had to sum up your life or life's philosophies of life's lesson, what would it be?
I don't know if I can, put my life into one sentence, but uh, I think that,
Or what would they be? Let's put it
yeah,
like that.
I don't know. I think that it's the various aspects, I think, on a professional side, I think I would say that uh, try and do something which is create a brand rather than commoditize. Yeah, if you perpetuate or not perpetuate, but attempt to make one. You know, attempt to create a brand rather than out of a commoditized situation, if or otherwise, because then you are creating something unique. Yeah, that would give me happiness. Uh, and I think the other is the simple, straightforward human values that have come, from age-old times, to perpetuate. If you respect for parents existed during Rama's time. Yeah, I don't know how so much has happened in this world, but it's a value even practiced today. Yeah, caring for your family existed then, it is there today. Being good at your job, Ram Rajya, which is basically saying that I'll be good at the job of being a king, existed then, it's as relevant today. Yeah, being fair and being just as a leader existed then, it's relevant today. So I'm not very sure if, some things remain constant. How they are practiced may be different. You'll have artificial intelligence and saying, hey, you practice it in ABC manner instead of what the way you were practicing it earlier. But there are some constants in life. Stay with those constants. There are variables in life, then adopt those variables and become better.
This is Rakesh Rawal, Uncomplicated. Thank you so much for reminding us that balance is possible and that true legacy is built on nothing but empathy and shared values. It's been such a joy talking to you, Rakesh, on Rakesh Rawal, Uncomplicated. Completely my pleasure. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Poonam. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being very kind to me in the questions that you asked me. And very, very grateful that you could spend the time.
We are learning, and I'm sure this episode, which shares all your thoughts on fulfillment, relationship, and life, is going to make it even more special, deeply special. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Poonam.